devotions where you plunge the toilet and read the Bible. We're the Cloud family.
Okay, so a little backstory on what she just said. We were asked to record a little bit of a home devotion, and Ira and I were trying to think about what we wanted to talk about, but it really just kind of hit us right before we hit record. So for the past couple of days, in the kids' bathroom, sorry y'all, but in the kids' bathroom, we've had an issue with the toilet. It'll flush, and then it won't flush, and then it'll flush, then it won't. We've gone through 4 different plungers. This one wasn't the right one. This one was cheap.
4 different new plungers, like
Crazy.
$40 with the
Yeah, brand new plungers because, we didn't start with the big boy, which is the one we knew we should have done. And it ended up that we needed to go buy a snake and take it out. The reason I tell you this is because once we finally got to the root of the problem,
which was a
grapevine. A grapevine.
Grapevine.
The branch that comes in a bag of grapes. That's not what you would expect to plunge out of the toilet. So, we're all laughing hysterically over this, and it really just kind of hit me that sometimes in our spiritual life, we have things going on, and we don't immediately go to the main source. We don't immediately go to Christ. We try to filter it out on ourselves, and we try to
push it down,
push this and get rid of that, and I'll pray about it one time, and then I'll leave it alone, or and sometimes that doesn't always work.
Well,
sometimes,
and I think this just came to me piggybacking off of that. I think that when we were plunging randomly with different plungers, it worked here and then. So it's praying about it one time works one time, and then it comes back, and especially if you're dealing with a reoccurring situation or a reoccurring temptation or a reoccurring sin, praying about it one time might help one time, but that's not where freedom is found. Freedom is found in intercession and snaking the problem and ripping it out and going to the source.
And sometimes I think it's all too easy to just try to push things and act like they don't exist, and we push it further down, and that doesn't get rid of the problem. Sometimes, with a plumbing snake, you literally have to pull it out to get rid of the problem. And I think that sometimes we don't rely on Christ to pull things out of our life, out of our heart, and sometimes you may not even be what you expect. We certainly were not expecting a grape branch to come out of the toilet.
To come out of the toilet.
But it goes back to, you can live a life thinking that you've got it all together, and you've got.
Well, I think also there are situations where you might be trying, you might be plunging, but there's times, this morning I woke up to go to the bathroom, and I walked into the bathroom, I was like, oh, dang it, and just went to the other bathroom in the house, because it wasn't a problem that I wanted to address at the time. I didn't want to deal with it. And so I think there's multiple aspects here where sometimes it's a situation you are trying to fix, and other times there's something going on in your life that you're just not even willing to deal with, and that problem is either getting worse or it's staying stagnant. And so you can fix all of it. There is Christ for all of these things, but it depends on how much you're willing to give at that time.
Yeah.
And we had thrown all kinds of stuff at the problem to try to push through it. And there was no pushing through it because it was too big of an issue. It was too big of an issue to be resolved by just pushing through. Sometimes just pushing through isn't going to work. And I think Shannon said it best when she said it has to be pulled out. It has to be ripped out. And there are some things in our life that we can't just try to get through. And we certainly can't just try to get through on our own, but we have to depend on Christ to really reach down and take those things and really rip them out of our life. And you know what? I'm sure that that there's pain associated with that. And sometimes when we have to really let Christ rip something out, it might hurt initially, and we might feel like, that was a part of us or something that made us who we are. But really, if that's what made us who we are and that separates us from Christ, then that part of us needs to be ripped out. And that part of us can be ripped out and then healed. And once that thing that doesn't belong there is gone, then we have an
living water
opportunity
can
to
go.
heal.
If it's a toilet, there's water.
Now,
and if you're a
now
person,
it functions
there's living
right.
water. The
That's
word
right.
the
Now
word
that's
says
right.
that he's living water.
That's
so
right. If you're a toilet, the water.
it's just water. And
Now
if you're
the
a
water
person,
flows.
it's living water.
That's right. Now the living water can flow through.
Fill that void. And the thing about water is that it conforms perfectly to any space that it's in. So like whatever the trial is, whatever the situation is, like Christ is going to conform and heal it perfectly the way that needs to, because that's how water works. And if we believe that he's living water, then like that's just better. Like that's alive water. Like
That's right.
Right. But you have to be willing to allow God to
snake it out.
rip those things out that don't belong there. Whether it's, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, but it's I don't want to say it's part of the process, but it's really part of the process.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that reliant on Christ, if your relationship, if your foundation is not there with him, all you're going to do is keep pushing that problem and just push it. And the further down you suppress it, the further down it goes, the more impacted it becomes, and the more problems it's going to cause you later on.
There was no way.
It wasn't getting fixed.
There was no way to fix it without removing it. It had to be removed. Couple of verses. Zechariah 4:6 says, "Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord." Psalms 118:8 says, "It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man." And so, sometimes we want to do things on our own. We want to. Sometimes we want to be the one to fix it. We want to be the fixer, and God's the fixer.
Yeah.
And we have to depend on him. It is by his strength that the really hard things are healed, and by his strength that the things that seem like they can't ever be accomplished are accomplished. And I think that he gives us wisdom and knowledge and understanding and spiritual authority in our own life to be able to handle the little stuff, to be able to handle the little clogs in life. And then sometimes we have to depend on him. Well, when those big things that just won't break free, those struggles that just won't break free, when they have to be removed, we have to no longer depend on the strength of man, but we have to depend on the strength of the Lord. And when we do that, when we seek the Lord, Psalms 105:4 says, "Seek the Lord in his strength, seek his face evermore." When we seek the Lord, then he is sure and just and promises that he will answer us in whatever way we need answers to come.
So, with that being said, everybody, enjoy your time with your family. I know that things are a little bit rough right now, but let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the time that we get to spend and be with one another, and that we are healthy and we are praying. We love you guys.